Alright, so I debated making this video or not because it could or might not, may or may not get me in trouble, but I'm ending, leaving the quality anyway. So, we'll do another one as I do another pre-trip out of Black River Falls, Wisconsin. Whew, sign survived, I gotta retape it. Normally you're not supposed to do that, but being that this is my last ride for them before settling out down, I decided to do it anyway. I had 2 people flip me off, and a lot of people honked. But for the 2 people who flipped me off, I just hope they recognize the freedom that they have to do so. My grandfather served in World War II, got shot down twice, and a bunch of other things he couldn't even talk about. And there's a lot of people who came before him and after him who made the ultimate sacrifice, and those who maybe didn't make the ultimate sacrifice, but they're living with new issues since their service. They did so that we all can live more free. And I'm sure it's a mixed up deal with like whatever political party, that you don't appreciate the political party that's in power right now or something, and that's why they flipped me off or something. But I just want people to recognize that you could be in North Korea right now with very limited political speech capability, where if you say one thing wrong about Kim Jong-un or whatever the hell his name is, you could get killed over it, or you could be put in prison or killed over it because you said something wrong that's offensive to their government. In China, they have their own, well, they have the internet, but they have their own very censored internet, from what I understand anyway of it. Very limited on their speech, and then their government watches everything they do on their internet. Our system's starting to try to be like that, but it's what it is. But the thing that offends me the most about that, I'm totally fine with people flipping me off or whatever, that's their opinion, but it was a kid flipping me off with both fingers because her parents told her to do it, and is raising her that way to flip people off for being what you said on the sign there. Just, if I said honk, if you're proud to be an American. It's not party affiliated. It's out of respect for my grandfather and those who served, who gave the ultimate sacrifice so that I can be free. I recognize that, and that's the same reason I stand for the Pledge of Allegiance at whatever game you go to and whatnot, because those people came before me and made sure that we have a very specific set of rights that our government can't so far take away. They've been trying to weasel away at it here and there. That's a different video altogether. But the only reason they're able to drive by me and flip me off today, to have her, I take offense to having raising their kid in that fashion. It might be a political thing, I don't know what. But then I had like an old couple both flip me off as they drove by. People set in their ways, I don't know. But my point of this video isn't to specifically call them out. It's the fact that everybody on the 4th of July should realize what the true point of the 4th of July is to celebrate, yeah, our freedom, our independence. But it's also to recognize all those who came before us. There's endless lines of graves in the veteran cemeteries around the U.S. Endless numbers of people who gave the ultimate sacrifice, defending your right to do so, to drive by and flip me off, or to have a different opinion from what I have without facing consequences for it. And it's just rubs me the wrong way to see people, they might not be fully thinking it through, but to disrespect that sign back there, whether you're on the party line or not or whatever, is disrespecting. It's pretty much spitting on the graves of those people who gave you that right to do so. In my opinion, I mean, I'm very specifically flying a sign honking and asking people to honk if they're proud to be American today on the 4th of July. That's not party line Republican, that's not party line Democrat. That is literally, are you proud to have the amount of rights that we have? And people flip me off for it. They're just, it's just how naive they are. And the thing that rubbed me the wrong way was that blonde lady, probably about my age, having her kid flip me off with both fists. Her kid was 6, 7 years old, something like that. I'm not even sure if she was old enough to be in the passenger seat, but she was in the passenger seat of that car. I'm not going to go into it, I'm just saying. In a different country, she drove by and did that, and I was flying, God bless Kim Jong-un or some kind of thingy where it was with the government, and then she flipped me off for it. I could turn that in on video evidence in that country, anonymously on the tip lines that government has, and then they would hunt her down and put her in prison or potentially kill her for it. That's the very limited freedoms they have. Here, you're free to just do it without consequence because we set up a government for and by the people. And it just, that part irritated me, that she's teaching her kid to do that, and it was just being naive about the political one way or another, thinking of them one way or another. It wasn't about that. It's the fact that my grandfather served in World War II and was shot down twice, and then he wouldn't even discuss the rest of the stuff other than he was a plane mechanic for a while, and then he was a chauffeur for the higher ups or something before he got out. But there was a bunch of stuff he wouldn't even remotely start to talk about, and I'm sure that included killing people on defense of us, shooting whoever, whatever, the Nazis, the Germans, wherever he was at. He wouldn't even talk about where he was at specifically. Wouldn't even name the continent or anything, which part of the war he was in. Specifically because it was that hard for him to talk about, and he's got people before him that came and people that after him that have served and given their lives and are walking around injured and disabled the rest of their lives permanently, so that we can have the ability to flip somebody off as you drive by them. I'm not in the least bit offended that they flipped me off, I should say. It's just, I'm a little bit offended that she's teaching her kid to be like that, to not be proud of the U.S. that she's in. Overall, I'm talking overall the years of her life. She's teaching her kid to disrespect, to not like the U.S. at 7 years old. Just because maybe the party she doesn't want to have in office or something is in office. Maybe that's the whole point behind that. Obviously, it would be what I would guess is what the point of that was. I had others drive by and they had their kids waving and honking and giving me thumbs up. But the thing that kind of somewhat offended me was that little kid, doesn't know any better anyway, double fisting the flip off finger. Doesn't even matter if it's to me for anything else. Why are you teaching your kid at 7 years old to flip people off? Period. Just in general, why are you teaching your kid to walk around flipping people off? But it's the way people think or something, I don't know. Don't know, and I wasn't going to make a video about it because of the sign thing. Comes back to, we have tape, I don't know where the roll went, but that's the oops, just a second. That's the leftover that I pulled off the sign that I had. And there's a good example of it there. We tape up stuff on the inside and the outside of the vehicles for the decals on the doors of the vehicles for to drive with quality. As a transporter, you got to show your DOT number off. And then these compartments that sometimes don't have locks, won't stay on, whatever, they tell us to tape that up. So that my company should take no offense whatsoever to putting my own sign on the back of that thing, because I'm using the same tape they said is totally fine to use on the unit for everything else, for one thing. And then if quality did have a problem with me being generic on a deal there, I wasn't even being political about it, being generic on it, about a sign saying honk. If you're proud to be an American, quite frankly, if you're not patriotic, I wouldn't want to work for you anyway, in my opinion. But it doesn't matter anyhow, because this is my last RV for a while anyway. But for those who are saying it might damage the unit, it's not going to damage the unit, because they told us already to put our DOT decals on the doors. That would damage units. And then if any of one of those compartments fall open and won't stay shut or whatever, because occasionally that happens, especially in the snow, the winter time, when you go from warmer or colder to hotter temperatures, it'll do that, expand or contract or whatever, and won't stay locked. They tell us to take that same tape and tape those compartments up. instead of doing the proper thing of pulling into a shop and having them fix the lock or whatever. They tell us to just tape it up and go because it's not going to damage the unit. So no way my sign back there would damage the unit. So don't even go there in the comment section on damaging the unit because I want to be political or whatever. The whole video is not about being political, it's about being an American. Anyhow, that's just something I wanted to bring up since it's the 4th of July. I'm totally fine with people flipping me off if you want to. It's just the thing I found funny about that is 7-year-old kid, give or take, you're teaching her to flip people off. I hope you have a better day. Like and subscribe, leave comments. I'll catch you in the flip. Peace. Happy 4th of July.